All right, let's talk about something a little uncomfortable, something that might just flip your entire financial world upside down. Let's be honest, we're all chasing that feeling of financial security. But what if the path you're on, the one that feels so responsible, is actually a detour? Here's the raw truth. Every single extra dollar you were proudly throwing at your 3% student loan this month could have quietly grown into 6, maybe even $7 in a simple market index fund by the time you retire. No, that's not a typo, and it's not some get-rich-quick fantasy. The satisfying debt-free spree chasing with every extra payment might actually be the very anchor holding your wealth-building journey stuck in first gear. So stick with me for a few minutes, because by the end of this, you'll not only know exactly when to pay down debt and when to let it ride, but you will also discover how to make your money work so much harder than you ever have to. This is the key to unlocking the next level of your financial life. We've all heard it, right? It's the chorus of a song we know by heart. Hate your debt. Attack it. Shred your credit cards. Pay it off as fast as humanly possible. It's practically etched into our financial DNA by well-meaning parents, teachers, and 1,000 finance gurus online. But what if that conventional wisdom, that seemingly responsible advice, is actually the biggest roadblock preventing you from building real, lasting wealth? What if, by rushing to eliminate every last penny of manageable debt, you're not just missing out on an opportunity, you're actively forfeiting a fortune? In the next few minutes, I'm going to pull back the curtain on the single debt mistake that is costing countless people their financial futures, and more importantly, show you how avoiding it can become your fastest, most direct path to getting genuinely rich. Section 1. The unforgiving math. Let's just cut to the chase and run some cold, hard, and frankly, unforgiving numbers. This isn't about feelings, it's about arithmetic. Imagine you've got a $10,000 loan. Maybe it's a student loan, maybe it's a car note, humming along at a modest 3% interest. Now let's say you get a small raise or a bonus, and you decide to be super diligent and pay an extra $200 on that loan every single month. You're a financial warrior. You'd wipe that loan out in about 4 years, and in the process, you'd save roughly $600 in interest. And hey, that feels pretty smart, right? You get that satisfying debt-free letter in the mail, you do a little victory dance. But here's the kicker, the part that most people completely miss: the opportunity cost. What if you took that exact same $200 and, instead of sending it to your loan servicer, you dropped it into a basic, boring, diversified index fund? Historically, these funds average around 10% annually. Let's run the clock for those same 4 years. That $200 a month wouldn't just be sitting there, it would be working, compounding, and growing to over $11,500. It's an almost $11,000 swing in your favor, a massive difference in your net worth, simply because you didn't rush to pay off your debt. This isn't just about saving a few bucks on interest. It's about the monumental power of compound interest working for you, not against you. So, here's the golden rule of thumb we're going to use. If your debt-S interest rate is below 6%, you need to seriously consider investing the difference. Let compound interest, that silent financial superstar, do the heavy lifting for your future self. Section 2. Good debt versus bad debt. Let's be brutally honest, the word debt often carries a heavy, villainous connotation. It's the monster under the financial bed. But not all debt is inherently evil, despite what some loud gurus with books to sell might tell you. To build real wealth, we need to learn to distinguish between the financial monsters and the strategic allies. A credit card balance, for instance, sitting at a brutal 21% interest, and that's not just a monster, that's a 5-alarm fire, a financial emergency that needs to be extinguished immediately, no questions asked. That's bad debt, plain and simple. It costs you sleep, it costs you a fortune in interest, and it offers absolutely zero upside. But what about those fixed-rate federal student loans hanging out at 3 to 4%, or a super low 2.8% mortgage you locked in a few years ago? Folks, that's not bad debt, that's cheap leverage. Think of it like this: bad debt is like a leak in your boat, draining your resources and sinking your spirits. Good debt, on the other hand, is like borrowing a powerful engine for that boat. It allows you to get to your destination, financial freedom, much faster by buying you time in the market and allowing your investments to grow, often using someone else's capital to foot the bill. Here's a simple test to tell the difference. Ask yourself, would I honestly borrow money at this interest rate to invest in the long-term growth of the stock market? If you're looking at a 21% credit card, the answer is a hard no. But if you're looking at a 3% loan and the market historically returns 10%, the answer should be a resounding yes. If so, you should absolutely keep that loan and invest your surplus cash. Section 3. The mindset shift. Now let's talk about what truly matters, because the math is only half the battle. We often chase peace of mind by aggressively paying down every last cent of debt, but I'd argue that peace of balance sheet matters even more. It's a common and tragic paradox. People will proudly brag about a zero debt balance, yet they have $0 invested for their future. While being debt-free feels good in the moment, they're often just one unexpected emergency: a major car repair, a sudden medical bill, a job loss, away from being right back in high-interest credit card debt, possibly worse off than before. That's because they neglected to build a financial safety net and let their money actually grow. It's time to flip the script entirely. Stop measuring your financial progress by paid in full letters and start focusing on the only number that truly counts: your net worth. That's the real scoreboard. Once you start viewing every single invested dollar as a tiny, tireless employee clocking in 24/7 to make you richer, an employee that never calls in sick, never asks for a raise and works solely for your benefit, the irrational urgency to fire them by paying off low-interest loans simply melts away. This isn't about being irresponsible, it's about being strategically smart and understanding that true, unshakable financial security comes from growth and assets, not just from debt elimination. So, how do we put this powerful concept into practice? Let's break it down into 6 concrete, actionable steps that you can start today. List everything out. Get brutally honest with yourself. Open a spreadsheet and write down every single debt you have, its exact interest rate, and the minimum monthly payment. No shame, no judgment. This is your battle map. Knowledge is power here. Attack anything above 6%. Consider any debt with an interest rate above 6%, like credit cards or high-interest personal loans, as a financial emergency. Declare all-out war. Hit it with every extra dollar you can find. This is where you get the most immediate guaranteed return on your money. To secure your 401k match. If your employer offers a 401k or similar retirement match, you must contribute enough to capture every single penny of it. If they match 5%, you put in 5%. This is literally 100% return on your money. Day one, it's free money, and you absolutely cannot afford to leave it on the table. There are no exceptions to this rule. Build your buffer. Before you do anything else with your extra cash, establish a solid 3-month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. This isn't a luxury, it's a non-negotiable necessity. It's your shield against life's inevitable curveballs, ensuring that a sudden expense does not derail your entire financial plan and force you back into high-interest debt. Split the surplus. Once those initial critical steps are covered, take every extra dollar you have beyond your essentials and split it. This is where the magic happens. Send half of your surplus into diversified, low-cost index funds for long-term growth, and use the other half to continue accelerating payments on any remaining debt, starting with the highest interest rate first. Review and adjust. Your financial life isn't static, and neither is your plan. At least twice a year, sit down and revisit your debts, your income, and your investments. As interest rates in the market change or your income grows, you might need to adjust your strategy. Flexibility is the key to long-term success. If this conversation has sparked a new way of thinking for you, if it's flipped your viewpoint on debt and wealth upside down, then do me one simple favor: smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop weekly videos just like this, designed to cut through the noise and transform basic budgeting into real, tangible wealth-building strategies. Look, aggressively paying down low-interest debt feels incredibly responsible, doesn't it? It gives us that warm, fuzzy feeling of being in control. But here's the stone-cold truth. Math doesn't care about our feelings. It only cares about the numbers. The truly smart play, the one that builds lasting wealth, is to let your high-interest debt die a swift, brutal death. Keep the cheap, low-interest debt alive and working for you as leverage, and send your hard-earned cash to the front lines to work tirelessly for you in the market. Master that delicate but powerful balance, and you won't just be debt-free someday, you'll be genuinely wealthy.